My Fallout collection has been growing with all these companies putting out figures, probably based off of the popularity of the show. I picked up Lucy originally, but didn't have any of the other main characters from the show, so I'm very excited today to take a look at the brand new Firestar Toys custom minifigures for the Fallout show, being the Ghoul as well as Maximus, to round out the main trio for me in my collection. I also got the head, so another fun accessory to put in the collection. Both of these have some interesting packaging, with really only the Ghoul having specific packaging. So let's go ahead and check out these first. And this one has the minifigures.com packaging, which is weird because Firestar must be connected to them in some way since they have so many of their figures in the market. Otherwise, I guess they could be resellers, but looking at the similarities there in styling, it seems like they are the same company, just with different names. You can see the sort of drawing render for the Ghoul, the head's there, power armor helmet also in that logo. So it's kind of interesting that this one didn't have the special packaging, since it is, I believe at the time, kind of a special edition minifigure with the Brotherhood of Steel logo on there. But just as the generic one, on the back of this one, you can see that it is Pip-Boy styled. You got the waist cape for the Ghoul as well. And a little bit of quote from the show. Description that it is printed and all that. You get two different heads. And on the back of this one, just more generic stuff for Firestar. Would have loved to have seen a special Maximus one, especially since this one looks so great. But let's go ahead and check out the Ghoul on the stand. And looking at the Ghoul here, there's a lot to like. Some stuff I don't love, mostly being the 3D printed accessories here with the hat and also the gun. Just don't like the look of them. The hat, it's too thick. There's a lot of the sort of grain texturing on the bottom of the brim, which looks very ugly. It just ruins the look of it. And like I said, I think this looks like a goofy Pharrell hat, where it's very tall on the top, super thick on the brim. So I'd much prefer an official Lego hat option, which is going to be what I'm going to do with this figure. I think dark tan is probably a more accurate color, and I don't know if that part comes in dark tan, the official Lego one, I should say. So it's too bad. I think there are Indiana Jones fedoras in tan at least, so I could do that. But like I said, don't love that. I do love the face print though, which is the reason why I picked this version of the character. I just don't think anyone's going to knock it out of the park like they did here with this option here. Don't have the waist cape on for now, just to see that the legs don't have side printing, which I hate that about Firestar, where they're super inconsistent on if they have side leg printing or not. You do get the waist cape though, so when we toss that on, it won't be as distracting. With that gun, it is fine. You know, it looks like the shaping is pretty nice, but just with a 3D print, I just get worried about it getting wrecked, as I would like it to. And you can't rotate it really to like pose it in different ways. I guess you can a little bit, but just the fact it get damaged, I don't love that. And it doesn't have the extra paintwork on it to give it more coloring, so you'd have to go and do that yourself. So something to keep in mind. If I had an option to not include the gun and lower the price, I would have taken that. But that's the basic look. Let's get that waist cape on to finish the look too, which features some nice tear and sort of tattered look to the fabric. The color matches up pretty well. This is definitely a lot darker than the plastic, unfortunately, so it's not a perfect match. Looking at the front of the torso though, really liking the bandolier with the different ammo rounds in it. A couple of them are missing as well, like he's been shooting his gun. His shirt from pre-war is showing underneath his jacket and everything. And the one downside to the UV printing is that there is no metallic print, which is not a capability of UV, so the belt buckle is just kind of that darker yellow. Back of the torso, you can see where the gun would be holstered. Do have the brick arms version of his pistol, which I'll use for the final version of this figure in my displays and everything. But the strap going around the body matches perfectly like it should. No complaints there. I think it's not super over detailed. There are some nice extra darker brown accents to give the fabric more depth and more wear, which is nice to see. And like I said, got an extra head too, so I'll toss that on, switch out the hat, and throw on the other gun. And this is another great expression and really screams Lego to me. You know, they always do the smiling expression as the second face. So love that for the style of this minifigure. Back of the head has the same sort of crease lines, so nothing changes there, which is nice to see the continuity. And it's cool to see the extra detailing on the back of the head, especially for a character that has the hat that doesn't cover the whole back of the head. But back to the face. Love the face. You know, the sunken eye sort of look is perfect. Definitely matches what is shown in the show. And like the back of the head with the creases, those look great in the front of the head too. And this hat just looks so much better. You know, it's probably not the right color. The lighter brown, though, is the perfect kind of contrast to the dark brown everywhere else. So color-wise, overall, a little bit of reddish brown throughout. Definitely ties the look together. Doesn't look off. Hopefully this part could come out in dark tan eventually. I think that would be better. This works for me for now. And same goes for the brick arms gun. That is perfect. Glad I got that when I went to Brick World. And it's great look for Cooper here. Glad to finally have this out of the box and showing it off so I can throw it in the case with Lucy. And let's jump to Maximus, another figure I'm excited to look at, which is this very interesting 3D printed sort of armor set of the T60. I definitely think scaling wise, very off. The helmet's huge where it should probably be a lot smaller and shorter. I just don't love the proportions there. Arms, you know, I get the effect they're going for there, but they just look like huge crab claws. I'm not the biggest fan of those either. I'd probably display them without it, especially since all of these parts are pad sprayed silver. So if you're putting things in the hands, you're going to end up scraping the ink off of the inside of the hand. So I don't know. I guess I would just rather skip that. You know, they just clip into the normal minifigure hand. So easy to kind of pop them on and off. I think that looks fine. You can see the side by side there. Arm sort of length doesn't bother me too much as long as it has a little bit of extra height on the legs. So I don't know. I could see you wanted to go either way. And here's the Nazi Bricks Power Armor, which has been my main T60. You just see the sort of scaling there with the helmet where it's like the size of the torso. Of course, though, when you switch it out for the Nazi Bricks ones, I noticed that they're actually really small compared to the rest of it, which might be a little bit better proportion-wise. It's just too bad that the armor that they printed, the head, neck area kind of hides a little better. So if there's a little bit more height on the armor where it kind of went where the neck is, I think this would fit a lot better. Not the case, though, with their design is what it is. I think the chest piece isn't too bad. It definitely looks good as like a simplified Lego sort of thing. The Yao Guai scratches as well as the Brotherhood symbol there are UV printed versus pad. So it is nice to have the extra printing, and that is why I got this, because I could never go ahead and paint that. I thought this would be the kind of best representation of it since nobody else has really done this sort of look in something that I enjoyed aesthetic-wise. Like I said, the chest piece for this is great. Boots are probably fine too. You could probably live without them. The one thing I would say is a bummer is the torso and the legs are also printed on this, so you're missing out on a lot of that extra detail. You can see it peeking there. Now they took the hand off when you have all the armor pieces on. There is just a lot more to actually look at on the figure, which is going to happen, I guess. And another cool detail is like the little rangefinder thing on the helmet also moves, so that is an accurate in-game, in-show model there. And since it is 3D printed, you can see there that there's like the black resin that is used, which is separate pieces that are glued onto the helmet, so they are able to add some different color differences. So nice to see that it isn't just all the same color. Again, why I did this, because I didn't want to have to paint another power armor set, since I have all the unpainted Nazi brick ones that I have to get to. It would just be nice to get a cool, specifically Maximus version. Another cool thing though, you take off the helmet, you got a black head, but if you flip it around, you got the Maximus head here. So we'll get that kind of flipped around. We've got a hairpiece on it. I'll take off all the other armor pieces to kind of give an idea of the rest of the minifigure. And this is one of those interesting design choices where instead of doing the sort of stripped off power armor frame type look, they gave you minifigure design here where it is just the power armor look, but a minifigure instead of the bulky parts. I love the leg prints here too, so it's a bummer to see those covered up. And getting to like the back of the torso where they have like the little valve where the power cell goes. It's kind of a bummer to see that not represented on the armor itself, or it even gets covered up, where I wish that they would have added like a little cutout in the bottom here to show that. Let's look at all that awesome detail that's on the torso, and then you have to cover it up. The face, I know technically he would have like the Buzz Lightyear hat thing on, so the hair wouldn't work, but it works here, you know, if you just wanted the minifigure face. I think that looks great. It's got the scratch in the eyebrow, very accurate to hit the actor in the show. Maybe the skin tone isn't 100% accurate, but like I said, there's just a lot of great printing on the actual minifigure here that is just covered up, and it kind of irks me that the rest of the armor wasn't printed at all, just the torso with that extra little bit. But let's do some different combos with different parts of the armor thrown on. First, let's get the helmet onto this look. And this is where it becomes very evident, man, that helmet is just way too big. I know it kind of matches the Lego like Bad Batch helmets, where those were also huge. But if this was just a little bit smaller, I think, honestly, without all the armor might be a preferred look for me. Guess let's try with the Nasty Bricks one on without all the extra armor pieces. And again, it just sucks that, like, actually, you know what, this fits a little bit better without the armor, honestly. That's kind of a cool look. It reminds me a lot of the Fallout 3, Fallout New Vegas sort of theming, where the power armor wasn't as like bulky in-game. It was more just like a suit like this. So that's kind of neat to see. I'm going to toss on the two different like chest piece parts. And this honestly might be my preferred combo, since you get the extra printing on the legs that is visible. Again, though, like I said, it's so weird that they put the chest piece so low on the back, so you get the extra detailing there covered up, because the rest of the parts, like in the front here, it is really just the printing is covered by the part that is represented. So you're still getting like that 3D depth in the print, or 3D printed print. So you're not missing out on detailing necessarily. You know, there is some extra detailing printed, but you're still getting the shaping and all that. So I don't know. I guess it would come to the personal preference of the person collecting it. I should say too, that comes with a 3D printed assault rifle, which I really think is not great. Not my preferred look of this part. It's got some print on the sort of stock and handle, which again will damage these parts if you're putting it on and off, since it is 3D printed. It doesn't have like the same sort of smoothness and give that a Lego gun would have. It's just way too simplified. I don't know. It just looks a little too goofy for me. I have the brick arms one, which I really like. I'm going to toss on this, since it just looks way better, honestly. But, you know, I guess they're going for the simple Lego look, which I don't know. Don't love it. Not a big fan, but you get it, so that's nice. Again, if they included an option where I could get it without the gun for cheaper, definitely would have done it. But I guess just one more time, that's what it looks like without all those parts. Let's just toss everything on again. I guess I should say I noticed that the helmet's a little loose on here, so keep an eye out for that. If you're walking around with it, you could drop the part. Don't want to get the mold or the print on it damaged at all. Like I said, looking at it right now, you lose a lot of the leg detailing that is printed on the leg with covering it with these. You do get a little bit of extra height, but honestly not that much. The hands, they do have a slight curve on the bottom of the hand to tell you which side is which, so that's kind of nice, so they're not just identical. But, you know, you get what you get. I kind of appreciate the 3D molded parts by Nasty Bricks, because you can paint them whatever way you want to. They did kind of provide that here with the original Input Bricks version, but you can get the printed one, so it's nice to have some options here. And I know they just released the T51, which again, I didn't love mold-wise. Really happy with what Nasty Bricks has been doing and all their kits. Definitely excited to paint my T51 of that. I guess while we have this on here, we should toss on the gun as well. Like I said, definitely get a little bit worried putting it in the hand. You're going to scrape the printing on the gun or the hand eventually. So gonna have to do that minimally. That'll be the last time that goes in there before I damage it even more. You can see right here, it's just getting stuck. I'm like, oh, yeah, you can see right there, handle ink rubbed off. So very cool, love that. Here it is with the Brick Arms version. So there we go, that is my gun for the figure. Really love that. One more accessory that we'll show off with the Ghoul now, since it's more thematic for him. That part came off, but yeah. And of course, you get the package, or the Enclave Scientist head here. Noticing the clutch on this 3D part is really loose, as well as the helmet on the power armor, so don't love that. I guess it's a benefit that it's not going to wreck the print, since it is a two-sided head. You flip that around quick, you have the more bloody-eyed look. So if it was tight, you risk damaging that, or it'd be hard to get off and on. So pluses and minuses. I guess as long as you just set it somewhere in a case, whatever, not going to be an issue. But if you're moving it around, you could lose the head. It's nice to get the 2 different color options, but it would be nice if it held in there a little bit better. I love the sort of handle that they put on the hair. I think that's kind of fun. So cool to get an accessory like this. Again, K-Town put out something like this. I thought the face looked a little bit better on this. Or actually, you know what? I think I had already ordered the head from Firestar, so didn't want to double dip, I guess I should say, since I already bought one. Good enough for me. But that is all that we have today for these Firestar minifigures. Let's go to some comparisons and the final verdict. Overall, I'd say the Firestar figures here, kind of a mixed bag on the parts. Definitely some positives on some of them. Remember that I had the special 10mm for the power armor that was made by Brick Arms as well, so use that instead of the assault rifle after all. But looking at this power armor and then going to the Nazi Bricks one right next to it, I kind of find it hard to believe somebody would prefer this one. You know, it probably does have a little bit of extra bulk, which is accurate to the show. But just looking at this one, the detailing and proportions just look a little bit nicer. This one might have a little bit more on the arm movement side, though, which is definitely a positive. I just wish the helmet was a little bit smaller and more proportionate. That is definitely the part of it that throws off the look the most to me. But it's nice you can kind of customize the parts that you use if you wanted to kind of strip down some of the bulk. But having the printed symbol is the big reason why I got it. Like I said, you know, 3D printed parts are going to be limited in some ways. It's nice that they were able to spray the silver on this so it isn't a flat gray. But definitely going to have to go through and paint the rest of these eventually, get the whole lineup of all the suits. Coupe, I would definitely say, like I said, face print, spot on. I think the neutral looking one here is going to be my go-to with the pistol I have there. That's perfect. Probably going to end up switching out the hat though. I'm not going to touch the 3D printed gun that came with it at all. So wish they could have given me an option to not even get it. Of course, the glowing one that I always have in all of my other reviews, and just rest of my collection. Loving all the vault suits that are coming out. I think K-Town has done the best job. The Brick Warriors Pip-Boy, great accessory there. Same with the Stim Pack. Lots of great accessories coming out. And Lucy now has the head along with her trank gun. So big reason I wanted to buy these figures was just to have a great representation of all 3 of the main characters. K-Town that made the Lucy did a Ghoul as well. I didn't love the face print, so that is why I jumped on the Firestar one here. And excited to see what happens in season 2 of the show. Excited to see what other companies put out more Fallout stuff. I feel like Brickmania is the company that is kind of releasing the most variety. I know other companies are putting out more stuff, well, like K-Town, who recently released the armored vault suit there for Brick Fair. So just keep an eye out if you're looking for more Fallout stuff. It's definitely coming. You don't have to settle for what is available now. But if you love any of the other figures that are available on the market, go for it. Definitely think all of these have decent quality. It's just going to be a decision on you, on what your aesthetic likes are, and what you're looking for in your collection. If you want to see more custom LEGO Fallout or Fallout builds, check out all the other videos on my channel. I have been Brick Radiop, and I will see you in the next video.